Actually, all right. Hello and welcome to the October press conference for the mayor's office. Just a couple items wanted to go over with you for this month. First of all, get out and enjoy the beautiful fall transition weather. We haven't had a hard freeze yet, so the leaves are still slowly turning and it's beautiful outside, so get out and enjoy some quality time. Halloween is coming up at the end of the month. The official hours will again be 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. on Halloween evening, which is Sunday, October 31st. So get out, be safe. If you're out after dark, which 7 o'clock will be, make sure you have lights with you, flashlights or flashing lights on your costumes, and watch out for all the little ghosts and goblins running around, and be careful, be safe. Want to thank the citizens that showed up at the last park board meeting. Wanted to spend some time covering the material that was discussed. So it's always good to see citizens participate actively in our governmental process. The topic of concern at the park board meeting, and has been for a couple months for people who live in the Moose Pond area, is the recommended relocation of the campground. I just wanted to visit with the public a little bit about that and where we are in that process. A year and a half ago or so, the park master plan was updated. It had been about 18 years since we updated our last program master plan. And through that process, things are identified as critical needs, intermediate needs, and long-term needs. So we take a comprehensive look at everything that is in that department from a recreational perspective, facility perspective, and just general community use and needs. One of the items that was identified is the campground. So our current campground is 30 amp service. It's pretty old. There aren't designated pads. There's electrical and water hookups that you can back up or pull into. So that was one of the recommended projects, along with several other projects. And specifically related to the campground, we looked at the ability to renovate where it currently sits. Is it the best use of money? It was recommended to have the facility in a place that is free from flooding, in a facility area that would accommodate 50 amp service and the larger units that are now more readily used by families who are camping. So the potential green space that was available is the space between Moose Pond and the Aquatic Center in that area. And the citizens in that neighborhood participated in the park board meeting. They had concerns about the use of green space, the calming effect that green space has in parks, the ability to not be visually obstructed in their neighborhood. When they currently bought their property, the campground didn't exist, and they have the expectation that it would stay that way. And so we're working through all of those concerns, and just wanted to let everyone know, number one, we appreciate their involvement in the process. It's an important part of the process. And number two, there have been no decisions made. There's been no funding allocated. There's been no definitive decisions. There are all still discussions about what parts of the master plan to incorporate into our CIP 5-year plan, and then any larger projects that come up. So just wanted to let you know that that's where we are at, and we'll continue to have community-wide discussions on that. Wanted to update you on 4th Street construction. They're doing an overlay project, which if you travel on 4th Street or in the downtown area, you can see the construction happening. It's going at a quick pace. The milling is done. They're currently in the process of now laying the asphalt down and resurfacing. We anticipate this project to be done at the end of the week or next week, with normal traffic flow to resume. So we appreciate your patience in the disruption of that traffic. We have an exciting project that will happen in the spring that we just voted on at the council meeting last night, about a new boat ramp down at West Leach Park. And the boat ramp will be between $170,000 and $180,000. MLS Landscaping will be putting that boat ramp in. The current boat ramp points a little bit upstream, and it silts in quite often. If you've ever kayaked or boated out of that ramp, you know that it's pretty mucky. So this ramp will be turned downstream. It'll be paved. We'll have big sections that will be pushed into the river. And the cost of the project will be 75% covered by the DNR, with the city absorbing 25%. So thank you to Jared and the Parks Department for applying for and receiving that grant. Thank you to the state of Iowa for their 75% participation in the project, and we look forward to a longer, better, more usable ramp in the future. Housing data, just wanted to go over with you the brief summary. If you want the details, you can look at the mayor's report from the council meeting video from last night. But I have a lot of questions that come in from our census in that the last 10 years we gained only 92 people. And what are we doing for growth? Has the community grown? Is 92 a good number? So if we dice that up a little bit, we've talked in some detail about the census only without the correlation to other data. So what I'd like to do at this time is bring in our new housing data. So this includes units that are single family units, duplexes. So these would be 2 units in one structure, and then apartment buildings ranging from 3 to 10 units, and then apartment buildings that are 10 plus units in the facility. And in the last 10 years, there have been 404 new living units residentially that have come online, and the valuation on those units is just under $53 million, right in that ballpark. So what that means is not only did we gain population in the census, but more importantly, the tax base has increased and the number of spaces available to live in has increased significantly in the last 10 years, and the occupancy rate is very high among that new construction. We have not seen empty housing or empty apartments sit open very long. Most of them fill up a lot of times before the construction is even done. And so just wanted to give you that perspective on a question that I frequently get is the community growing? Are we headed in the right direction? And I think north of $50 million and 404 housing permits that have been taken out is a good indicator of a healthy community and one that's trending in the right direction. I would encourage everyone at this time to buy local. Just briefly touch on the inflationary aspects that we see in our economy right now. So our core costs are going up. We see fuel going up. The winter heating is predicted to increase a little bit this year. We see the groceries are increasing. So what that means is, we all have a little less money in our budget to be able to spend on things. But as we move into the holidays, I would strongly encourage everyone to circulate as many dollars locally back into our economy as possible. We do a great job supporting our local businesses here every year, but in this era of coming into a rising inflationary aspect, I would strongly encourage, if you haven't shopped locally or if you haven't been into a store that has opened and you just want to go check it out, I just encourage you to try to keep as many dollars in the community as possible because it helps everyone. And we are headed into a winter where I think times will be a little tight for most people. And so I just wanted to let you know that spending locally is important and circulating the dollars locally is important, and we will certainly do our side on the city coming into our budget cycle to try to pinch the pennies and keep your taxes as in line as possible. But with the holiday season coming up, just wanted to put that out there. People have been encouraged in the media to buy earlier than normal with the supply chain backups that we see with 500,000 containers on cargo ships that have been backed up a month or so is what the reports are at the ports on the east and west coast. So just wanted to throw that out there to get people to think about a little earlier than normal and perhaps maybe buy locally. The election is coming up Tuesday, November 2nd. I encourage everyone to vote, get out and vote. Usually we average about 1,100 votes in a city election in the last 2 cycles, and this will be the first time that school board members are also on the ballot with the city officials. So we have a great participation rate, I think above average in the community, and just want to remind everybody, if you need to vote early, you can vote early at the courthouse annex building. And otherwise, you can go to the event center on the night of the day and night of the election. There is a candidate forum for city council if you're interested tomorrow, which would be Wednesday. And the time is 7 o'clock to 8:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. It'll be broadcast live on SMU and live streamed on Facebook, and I believe the radio will cover that live as well. So thank you to the 4 candidates who are running for council at large, and the media for putting the forum on, and the public for their participation in the event. And with that, that'll conclude the October Mayor's Report. We'll have another one coming up in November. We'd like to welcome our new city manager. We'll start November 1st. So the next time you tune in on a council live stream, Dan will be sitting right here in the chair, and excited to have him on board. The position has been vacant, obviously, since June when Amanda Mack left. One final thing, next Wednesday we do have a committee of the whole meeting. I had a request by some citizens as well as a couple elected officials to have a little further discussion about the hospital project on 11th Street. We're in the first of 3 readings on the ordinance to vacate that street, and so if people have support for or concerns against the continuation of that project, you're welcome to come next Wednesday. I believe the meeting is at 5:30 p.m. Here in the council. We'll probably have it in the council chambers, I would imagine. So again, invite you to that. We're also talking about other topics on there, recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission. About 2.5, 3 years ago, David Toyer of Toyer Consulting came in and looked at our code, looked at economic development. One of the big key items that a community needs to do is be prepared for projects that are ready to come into the community, and that way you can have a good timeline and speed up the process of going live with a new business coming to town. David had identified a couple areas of the code related to how businesses are conducted today. A lot of that dealt with ag processing and some niche manufacturing language that's in our code, and so the Planning and Zoning Commission has reviewed that. They have 3 or 4 recommendations to the council to update our ordinances in ag processing and niche manufacturing, and so we'll be discussing those Wednesday at the Committee of the Whole meeting as well, again at 5:30 p.m. And with that, I will sign off, as I always do. Stay safe, God bless, and have a great day.